Hello students, let's start with the recap of chapter 3 Meeting Life Challenges. Okay, so we are starting with the definition of stress. So according to Hans Selye, it is non-specific response of any demand that is placed upon it. Equilibrium is disturbed and our capacity to ability to cope has been exceeded. Okay, but there are two types of stress. That is, first is eustress and second is distress. Eustress is kind of a good stress which motivates us. It's beneficial for us. It is important to achieve our peaks. Okay, and distress is one of the stresses which has a negative form, which will cause wear and tear in the body and leading to the physical and psychological consequences. Let's go to next. Lazarus theory of appraisal. Very important question of this chapter. So Lazarus was father of stress theories. Okay, he said that there are two stages of appraisal. That is, one is primary appraisal and second is secondary appraisal. So whenever a stressful situation, whenever a stressful event or any kind of stimulus is coming to us, in the first stage we will see that we are taking that stimulus as positive, as negative, or as a neutral. If we are taking it as a neutral or positive, it is not a stressor for us. But if we are taking it as a negative, it becomes a stressor for us. Then we appraise it as a harm, threat, or challenge. There's a difference between these three. Harm is some harm has already been done to you because of that stimulus. Something has already been done. Threat, you might perceive it as a threat, meaning some harm might be done to you, but it has not been done yet. It's a threat. And challenge, you take it in a more of a positive way to enhance yourself, to upgrade yourself. Okay, so how we perceive the stressor, these are the three types in the primary appraisal. Then we come to the secondary appraisal. Secondary appraisal is when we see what can we do about the stressor. Okay, we basically assess our resources in this and evaluate our coping abilities according to our past experiences and our controllability. There are many types of resources: physical, personal, social, your money, your self-esteem, your confidence, your mind-body connection, your physical health. It can be many things: your support, your family, your friends. So these are your resources. If you have the resources, you will be able to deal with the stress. And if you have the past experience of that stress before, it will be easier for you to deal with it. And if you have your self-esteem that you will be able to control the stressor, then you will be able to deal with the stressor. Otherwise, it will go into dangerous mode. Next, we are coming to what are the sources of our stress. So there are four basically types of sources which are told. First is physical, second is environmental, third is psychological, and fourth is social. So now the question can come, it can ask you the sources of our stress. So if it asks you sources of our stress, you have to write all four individually. But if it asks you psychological sources of your stress, then you have to write only psychological one. Let's discuss it one by one. Physical is something which your body has, like an injury or poor diet or unable to sleep properly. These are all physical stress. Environmental is your surroundings like pollution, noise, crowding. These are your environmental stress. Now let's come into psychological internal sources which are unique to us. There are four types of psychological stress, that is frustration, conflict, internal pressure, and social pressure. Frustration is something is hindering your goals, your motives, okay, your blocked goals, that is causing you frustration. Conflict is you have a choice more than one and you are unable to decide between them. Internal pressure is the pressure which comes from inside. I must be perfect, I must score 100%, that is internal pressure. And social pressure is which is coming from the society, parents, family, friends, that is social pressure. Okay, fourth type of stress is social, which is externally induced by the interaction with other people, like family disagreement, death of someone, loneliness, anything can be in this. Next comes how we react to the stress. So there are four ways in which we react to the stress. That first is physiological, behavioral, emotional, and cognitive. Okay, let's start with the physiological. Hypothalamus activates our adrenal gland whenever the stressor is coming. It produces hormones like adrenal, cortisol, etc. So there are two pathways in which hypothalamus activates to flight and fight response. First is autonomic nervous system, where adrenal gland release catecholamines and in which these hormones are released, and they will provide instant energy so that we can be ready for flight or fight situation. Second pathway is through pituitary gland, which secretes cortisol, which also provides energy. Cortisol is a hormone which helps in reducing the stress. Okay, now let's come to the second way is behavioral. In behavioral, mostly we take two methods, fight or flight. You can also add freeze in it, but mostly fight and flight is more preferred. Fight is when you try to confront the stressor, and flight is when you run away from it or withdraw from it. Okay, for example, if I have an exam tomorrow and I haven't prepared anything, fight will be I will prepare my best to tackle the exam, that will be the fight, but I give up entirely, that will be flight. Third is emotional. Emotional is mostly anger, agitation, anxiety, depression, embarrassment. These are the common reactions. In the cognitive, which are thought processes, so belief, harm, and threat has been leading to you are not able to concentrate, repetitive thoughts, intrusive thoughts. These will be negative thinking, which will be cognitive ways to react to the stress. Now let's come to the next slide, which is sources of stress. This is very important question, mostly comes in 3 marker. So there are 3 sources of stress. First is life event, hassle, and traumatic events. Life events is something, a big life event has happened which has taken over your entire routine, disrupted everything. Okay, like moving into a new house, breaking of a very long relationship, death of a close family member, anything, a major event which has happened in your life. Hassles are daily hassles which we go through every day, the traffic, the exams, the assignments, noisy surroundings, anything which are happening daily, on daily basis, those are called hassles. Traumatic events is some event which has created trauma for us, like a major accident or a fire or a robbery or earthquake, it can be anything. Okay, so this question is very important, it usually comes in 3 marker. Now there is one definition which is called burnout. Okay, again, very important definition. What is burnout? Burnout is physical exhaustion and scene of chronic fatigue, weakness, and low energy. Basically, burnout is when you are physically, mentally, psychologically, emotionally exhausted. Okay? And the feeling of helplessness comes. Okay? You are not able to do anything else, even though you are trying to push yourself, but your resources have been completely burned out. Okay, so that is burnout. Let's go to the next. What are the effects of chronic stress? So there are 4 effects: emotional effect, physiological effect, cognitive, and behavioral effect. So emotional effect, we have seen mood swings, anxiety, depression. Physiological, hormones production, adrenal, cortisol, we have already seen, leading to the problem of physical illness as well. Cognitive effect, mental overload, poor concentration, faulty decisions, short-term memory loss. Okay? Behavioral effect, disrupted sleep, poor eating habits, increase in stimulants, basically more alcohol, more cigarettes, more tobacco and stuff, more caffeine, and reduced work performance. So these can be the effects due to the chronic stress. Next, very important question. This will come mostly in 3 marker. So journal adaptation syndrome or gas model given by Selle. Okay, so he says that there are 3 stages when a stressor comes to us. First is alarm reaction stage, second is stage of resistance, and third is stage of exhaustion. So whenever a stressor is coming to us, the first our body starts with the alarm in the fight and flight response. It activates the body to face the threat. It prepares the body to face the threat. Okay, to activate the flight and fight response. Now second, resistance stage, in which if the stressor has not been completed, basically if the stress is still persisting for days, for weeks, for months, the body continue to provide resources to deal with the stress. Now the body is giving everything, all the resources it has in the presence of the stressor. It is trying to adapt, like a toxic workplace environment, a person doing a job for 10-15 years or more than that. So its body is continuously providing resistance, giving resources to deal with the toxic environment, to that stress on the daily basis. That is called resistance stage. But one day it will come when the body will drain all the resources, leading to burnout and vulnerability to illness. That is the stage of exhaustion. Okay, when the body resources will be finished, now the person will be in the grasp of the illnesses, high blood pressure, coronary diseases, okay, maybe illness, any kind of illness, or psychological problems, or in the worst case scenario, even death. Okay, so this is gas model, very important. Case based questions can also come from this, as well as the lots question. Let's go to the next, which is relationship between stress and immune system. So there is a term called psychoneuroimmunology, which focuses on the link of mind, brain and immune system. All of three are working together to create psychoneuroimmunology. It is said that the white blood cells in our immune system are the ones who identify and destroy the foreign body, which is antigens such as viruses. So elements of WBC are antibodies, T cells, which destroys the invader, T helper cells, which increase the immunological activity like fighting against AIDS. B cells produce antibodies, natural killer cells, fight against viruses and tumors, infections and cancers. Now what actually stress do is kill the natural cell cytotoxicity, and if it kills the natural cell killer cell cytotoxicity, it cannot fight virus and tumors, infections and cancers. Hence the person will be easily catching illnesses, even infections, even tumors, even the life-threatening diseases. Okay, that means the immune system has gone down, and hence the stress has depleted the immune system. I hope this is understood. Next, we are coming to the strategies for coping with stress. So there are two models which are given to us in this. First is for the Adler and Parker model, and second is Lazarus and Folkman's model. Adler and Parker said that there are three types of strategies which helps us in coping or dealing with stress. First is task oriented, emotional oriented and avoidance oriented. Okay, so task oriented is something which we are directly addressing the stressful situation by obtaining the information and taking action for it. Okay, like the stressful situation I have is I have my exam tomorrow. So in the task oriented, what I will do is I will start studying for it. Okay. In emotional oriented, managing emotional responses such as venting or trying to maintain hope. If I keep on saying, "Nee, I will be able to do it. Nee, I am very much tensed. I am very much tensed. कैसे होगा? But we are trying to change the emotion, but हो जाएगा. Avoidance and oriented is I will just distract myself or minimize the situation. Maybe I watch TV or scroll on Instagram and stuff like that. I am avoiding the situation completely. That is avoidance oriented. Let's go to Lazarus and Folkman model. Basically the same thing, just with a different name. Problem focused, again attacking the problem by alternating the event. And emotional focused, we are limiting the degree of emotional disruption by without changing the event itself. We are thinking that, we are maintaining our emotions, we are not panicking, or we are. Next, we comes to the technique for stress management. So there are 6 techniques, relaxation techniques, in which you can add progressive muscular relaxation technique. Meditation procedure, we all know that biofeedback is when a physical feedback, biofeedback is taken from the body, and the stressor has been added and adapted to the real life stressor. That is biofeedback. Creative visualization, when we are visualizing something, meditating on it, we are visualizing, which is helping us to relax. Okay, cognitive behavior therapies or techniques, that is CBT, which we will be studying in. We have studied in chapter 5 of the therapies, and exercise. Building stress resistant life. Now this questions do comes, it's one of the hidden questions. So they can ask you, what is stress resistant personality, or what are the 3 C's and stuff like that. So you have to understand that what is the stress resistant personality. The concept was given by Kobasa. People who have high level of stress but low level of illness, means they are able to deal with the high level of stress. Okay, they have the personality traits of hardiness. Okay, hardiness is a set of beliefs about oneself, the world, and how they interact. 3 C's are the factors which control this personality is commitment, control, and challenge. Means whatever they are doing, they are committed to it. They know how to control their actions. Okay, they are in charge of their life. Nothing and nobody else can take over, and they take every stressor as a challenge, not a harm or a threat. Okay. Next, resilience and health. What is resilience? Maintenance of positive adjustment under challenging life condition. Even if the problems are coming, we are still, having the composure to deal with them, even under the challenging situations, and that will be our resilient personality. Okay. This question do comes in many format. Life skills. So what are the life skills? Assertiveness, time management, rational thinking, positive relationships, self-care, and overcoming unhelpful habits. So what is assertiveness? Able to say no, able to stand your grounds, confidently communicate your needs. That is assertiveness. Spend your time management is spend your time on what you value. You specify your time. Positive relationship amongst your friends, amongst your family members, taking care of yourself, that is in the positive self-care, keeping yourself healthy and fit and relaxed, and overcoming unhelpful habit. It might be like smoking or drinking or eating junk food, can be anything in that case. Now we come positive health factors. Okay, so what are the things which we can do in this is having a balanced diet, exercise regularly, have a positive attitude, positive thinking, and have a social support. These points can be explained by you in any format.